Hello, welcome and welcome back to the channel. My name is Lakeisha Candace, and in today's video, I will be sharing 7 things that I've learned since turning 30. Number 1, putting myself first and not last. Okay, this is a big one because growing up, I was always a giver. My number one love language for a very long time is acts of service. So the way I give love is doing stuff for people. And when I was younger, even up into my early 20s, I used to go above and beyond for people, doing the absolute most. But I didn't realize that it was a lot until I realized that I was left empty in the relationships or the friendships. And so over time, I've learned to advocate for myself and really choose myself even while coexisting with other people. For an example, I used to always just go with the flow. Wherever my friends or whoever I was in a relationship with at the time, wherever they wanted to go, that's where we'll go. Whatever they wanted to eat, that's what we were going to eat. And even if I didn't like that place or I didn't favor that place, I always just went with the flow. I learned that that was actually a trauma response, and that's another conversation for another day. But since being in my late 20s, now early 30s, I've realized that I need to advocate for myself and put myself first. So if I don't want to eat that, I don't want to eat that. If I don't want to go there, I'm not going. If I don't want to do that, I don't want to do it. But still being able to compromise as well. So I think that in the past, there was no balance. It was just all compromise. And I did not hold space for myself in those relationships. And that leads me to number 2. I'm not doing anything or going anywhere that I don't want to go. I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do, and I'm not going anywhere that I don't want to go. Now, this does not include if I need to show up for some friends or for some people. Yeah, I'm going to go because I want to make sure that I support. However, if this thing or this place compromises my values, my health, compromises my energy, my time, I'm not doing it. I'm not going. And when I was in my early 20s or, teenage years, early 20s, I would go to places that I've outgrown, but I still would go just out of, I think it was people pleasing behavior. And at 30, baby, 30 plus, we're not doing that because I don't want to. And I have that choice. Number 3, not allowing just anybody to be in my space. Now, I will admit that I've always been pretty selective when it came down to people who I called friends. In my early 20s, or I'll say late teens to early 20s, I didn't have a rigorous application process when it came down to friends. I would just go off of vibes. I mean, like just straight vibes. Like if I could sit and talk to you, or we had certain things in common, we were into music or we danced, we were performing, and if hanging out with you was easy and I felt like you were a genuine person, we were cool, we were friends, we were sisters, we were buddy. I realized that that wasn't enough to kind of vet people before coming into your life. Like, no, there needed to be a vetting process of character, of integrity. Is this person a true friend, or is this person a leech? Yeah, they might be fun and y'all might have all these, great experiences, but are they a good friend? And I realized that a lot of them weren't, and that's okay. The problem was I expected them to be friends and they weren't. So that's when it became an eye-opening experience for me to be like, okay, I need to really think about who I deem as a friend. Point number 4, or the 4th thing that I've learned since turning 30, I need to prioritize rest. Okay, all my life, and some of my friends might argue that this is still the case, but all of my life I've been booked and busy. I mean, even when I was in grammar school, grade school, I had a full schedule, whether that was sports, choir, after school projects, dance on the weekends all day. I was a part of a performance club and we had shows. I was always doing something. I was always busy. So the booked and busy culture was very heavy in my life. And since turning 30, even before turning 30, I was like, listen, I need to take a nap all day. Okay. I do not want to be booked and busy, especially because I realized that a lot of the things that I was doing, now granted, when I was younger and I was doing the performing and, rehearsals and all of those things, that was great. I love that. I love being busy and productive. But as I gotten older and I started to hit the music scene and things like that, going to all of these shows and just miscellaneous events, I realized that it wasn't really serving me. And it sounds good to be, everywhere. And I guess if you want to be a part of the industry, to a certain extent, you must go out and network and things like that. But once I realized, what I wanted to do, where I was headed, what my value system was, what I really needed to elevate, a lot of those events and spaces and things, it was just a whole bunch of stuff for me, and I did not need to be there. Even if those spaces and those events were productive, I had to realize that I cannot go to everything. It's not about just not going to things that don't serve you, but it's also about finding balance with your time and yourself. And I realized that I needed to prioritize pouring into myself, even if it means sitting at home doing nothing. I need a day of doing nothing. I need a couple of days of doing nothing. Okay. Number 5, believing in pattern recognition. And this, I think, can simultaneously be when people show you who they are, believe them. But I want to say believing in pattern recognition because that has always been something I have been good at. I'm a very observant person. I'm not the loudest person in the room, but I can be, in some spaces. But I just choose not to. I choose to just, sit back and watch and whatever. And so, with that being said, I've learned to watch people behavior and learn patterns of people. And oftentimes I would second guess myself in what I was seeing for multiple reasons. Some of them were trauma responses, but I'll share one. One was misinterpreting what it means to be open and knowing that you are not always right. And I think that there's a balance between being open to being wrong, always learning, things like that, and just knowing. No, you're not always right, and yes, you can always learn something, but a dog's a dog and a cat is a cat. If it barks, it's a dog. If it meows, it's a cat. Believe in those patterns, believe in what you see. Number 6. Ooh, this is a big one for me, let me tell you. Number 6. Give myself grace in various spaces, work, personal accomplishments, relationships. Calm down a bit. Learning to give myself some grace. And last but not least, number 7, don't hold on to my younger self. There are certain things that I used to do when I was younger that I would often refer to, even if it was just in my mind, but I often refer to as who I am currently, and not realizing that that was a part of who I was when I was younger at that time, at that season. And it was a reason why I was like that and why I was doing those certain things. And I didn't realize that holding on to that old mindset or that old, it could have just been like maybe one habit. Let's just use a saying for an example. Something that I used to have as a saying when I was 25 is not something that I have a saying as now. It's not this. It's not what I say now. I realized that I was stopping the new me from emerging or a new habit from forming because I was still holding on to the past. And again, it doesn't have to be something that's huge. I don't know, like you have anger issues, or you had anger issues, and or you had a very immature way of looking at certain things as it pertains to how you communicate with people, and you're like, well, no, this is how I always been, this is how I'm going to be. It doesn't have to be that. It could be something very small, and for me it was little tiny things. I realized that I needed to shift with this new version of me that was emerging, and in order to do that, I had to place certain things in the category of, this was me at 25, or I used to do that, not, oh, I do that. 1 year older, 1 year wiser. I know that I will continue to learn and grow, and I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if these helped you, if points you are also experiencing or you have experienced. Let me know if you want more things that I've learned since I've turned 30. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. So that the light was good.